be honest, if things continue in this direction, I'm going to become sickened by the word unanimous. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Fan Fridays. I am your host, Aman along with Reality Recaps, and we are here to talk about week 2 of Big Brother Canada 6. We were left off with Rosina and Alejandra being on the block, resulting in Rosina's unanimous eviction from the Big Brother house going into week 2. Okay? Now, the top question of the week was whether or not Marin and Veronica were going to be able to assimilate into the house and not create a target for themselves. Definitely coming in with that safety helped smooth that along, but it was clear very quickly that the house guests were not buying their story of being cherry-picked out of this arbitrary audience and then walking into the Big Brother house. I mean, come on. Come on. There are a few rumblings around the house of whether or not they're going to call them out on it, and there's a few questions that they, submitted to Marin and Veronica, but for the most part, everybody was just like, you know what, they're lying, but we're not going to do too much about it right now because we've got our own fish to fry, basically. So we get into the HOH competition, and, I don't know how many times we as a fandom can acknowledge the fact that Big Brother Canada continues to deliver on these competitions. The design, the fresh take on classic games and eliminations, and it's just, I wanted to be at that bar. I wanted to have a drink at that bar and get cut off. So Johnny, as the outgoing HOH, had to host the competition as the sassy bartender, and he was really cool. He was really cool in the role, okay? So the rules of the game were clear. Everyone got a chance to buzz in on who they thought the house voted as a particular superlative, whether it be, who's the dumbest, or who's the sexiest, or who's the smartest, or, whatever. Who doesn't deserve to be there. Whoever buzzed in first got the opportunity to go up and get a drink from the bartender and then splash it into the face of whoever they were going to guess as the voted in superlative. I think one of the best parts of the competition for me was definitely watching Maddie nominate herself and just lusciously pour that drink all over her. I'm really wondering, was that, I'm guessing that the drinks weren't real, that they were throwing, because that would have been a sticky hot mess, but I'm wondering if any of the props on the actual table, because if I were Johnny, I would have been just sitting behind that bar the entire time, watching the fireworks or waterworks, just sipping. Alright, so going into the competition, it was clear that the house wanted to target Andrew, which was, an easy bet because of the fact that he placed half of them in hell. So most of them didn't feel any kind of way about throwing him under the bus, and even his ally in Erica didn't feel any kind of way either because she eliminated him first from the competition. It dwindles down, she gets all the way to the final 2 with Ryan, but ends up getting the last question wrong, meaning that Ryan becomes the HOH, leaving Erica to deal with the stone face, cold ice grill of Andrew for pretty much the entire night. Ryan is particularly happy that he won HOH, seeing that he felt as though he was probably going to be on the chopping block because he hasn't been making any inroads with the other house guests, which, mostly is his fault because he's just an awkward guy. He is. He asked people to come up and consult with him about who they would want to see on the block one by one. It was a very, orderly line, very inorganic way of doing things, in my opinion, and the ultimate result was that everybody, of course, wanted him to put up Andrew because of the whole heaven and hell twist in week 1. Now, in Ryan's interest, were those the best options? Because Ryan is supposed to be on his side, so if I were Ryan, I wouldn't want to put up anybody that was in my alliance, especially as the HOH with power to evict someone else and to break up the alliance that you were trying to fight against. Another key player this week, and second nominee next to Andrew, is Hamza, who decided to take his fate into his own hands and ask Ryan to throw him up on the block because he did not want to be backdoored. He heard his name floating around, and so he decided, you know what, if I'm going to go out, I might as well go out swinging and have a chance to fight for myself and win that veto. So, at the end of the week, Ryan puts up Andrew and Hamza on the block. Much to Andrew's very, very deep disappointment, he feels as though he's been betrayed, he feels like he got used, he feels like all the people that he saved the first week have all abandoned him, and it's all for naught because now he has to do all of this work to save himself, and he's just not the best at arguing his case. The reason he's on the block anyway is because of the heaven and hell twist, and the fact that he overplayed his hand in trying to get rid of Rosina, or trying to save Rosina in week 1. He's got himself into a very large pickle. So it was time to pick players for the veto competition, and alongside Ryan, Andrew, and Hamza, we had Johnny, Jesse, and Erica. This veto comp looked so cool. I mean, it's modeled after the up-and-coming Tomb Raider film. I'm a very big Tomb Raider franchise fan, and I cannot wait to see what Oscar nominee and winner Alicia Vikander does in the role of Lara Croft, but that's beside the point, okay? The whole point of the competition was to untie yourself from a pole, get a bow and arrow, shoot your first puzzle piece off, and that would grant you permission to then double back, jump over this ravine, and grab puzzle piece by puzzle piece to bring it back to fill in your puzzle, and then you would win the veto. Now, one thing that I don't understand that more people do in competitions like these is exactly what Erica did. She was smart, and every time, or the first time that she went back there, she then went and collected as many of the puzzle pieces as she could, and then she went back and just made it easier, and she could go back and forth until she filled in the puzzle. Now, another thing that I don't understand that people do is, now when you see someone else doing that, I'm wondering if there's something in the rules where it's like you cannot tamper with other people's puzzle pieces, because if I were seeing Erica and she was succeeding that way, I wouldn't mind just, you know, jumping over the ravine and accidentally falling and disarray and moving all of her chips everywhere. But I mean, I'm not playing Big Brother. I want to play Big Brother, but I'm not playing. Anyway, Erica's squirrel strategy works, and she ends up winning the power of veto. Now, one would think for Andrew this would be a ray of hope, right? Because she's supposed to be with him. But she also eliminated him first in the competition, so I'm not entirely sure why he got his hopes up, but he did. And once they're up there, they fall back down. Ryan is hoping that he can get a backdoor situation going, and he, you know, not so flawlessly goes and suggests to the rest of the house to get something in motion so that he can end up saving Andrew, but all that does is make everyone else more suspicious of his activity, and they don't want to do it. I mean, Erica said it in the DR. She was like, if someone comes to you and then, you know, explains why you shouldn't be doing what you're doing so emphatically, that makes you think, okay, well, what's in it for you? Because now I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. Andrew pitches to her. Hamza kind of half-heartedly pitches to her. It's clear that Erica and Hamza are very, very close. They seem to have developed a very cool friendship, and I feel like he didn't want to pressure her too badly into using it if it wasn't best for her game, and I think that she was very honest with him and forthcoming as they seem to be in the relationship and saying, it just doesn't look good for me if I start pulling people off, because then people start questioning what it is I'm doing and what my motives are, and I think it's just clear and cut if we just leave it as is. So what ends up happening is what I just said. Andrew and Hamza stay on the block, and we move into the eviction episode. I actually really enjoyed last night's episode. We got a lot of cool and funny segments, but it wasn't too much, and it wasn't very heavy-handed, and it really allowed us to see how some of these relationships in the house are beginning to form. So we have this thing with whichever room you're sleeping in this season, that seems to be the people that you're going to progress with in the game. So the house guests have sort of divided themselves amongst who sleeps in the red room and who sleeps in the white room. And in the red room we have, and I have a list here so I didn't forget, Alejandro, Derek, Erica, Jesse, Johnny, Kayla, Mara, and Olivia. And in the white room, it seems that we have Andrew, Hamza, Maddie, Paris, Ryan, Veronica, and Will. Now this is starting to create a bit of a rift because some of these alliances are interchangeable between both rooms. So Marin feels as though he's in the wrong room because most of the people that he wants to be with are not in the room that he's in. So him and Will have been talking about how maybe he should continue to spy on what's going on in there, and it's like this whole espionage thing, and it's really cool to watch. We also got some colorful commentary on the showmances that are beginning to develop in this house by Hamza, and I couldn't agree with him more when he said that it's like watching High School Musical but like on steroids, and just like you have Kayla and Derek, and they're not even trying to hide it. I mean, they kiss in public, they hug in public, they snuggle in public, they go to the groceries in public. They're Dayla. And then you also have this little thing between Paris and Jesse, and Olivia went and asked Paris if she liked Jesse because Olivia likes Jesse too, but she doesn't want to like step on Paris's toes. So like she was like, if you don't like him, I'm gonna like try and see if anything happens. But like Paris does like Jesse, so like she like lied to Olivia about it, and it was like, oh my god. So now Paris has these blinders on for Olivia going into next week because she thinks that she might get evicted because Olivia's jealous that Paris and Jesse are together, even though Paris says she doesn't want anything with Jesse, but she really does because she just can't control herself and she doesn't want to be around him, and it's a big mess, okay? Another thing that was a big mess was the haircut that Andrew gave to Hamza. Now listen, I don't know why, especially as a man of color, I don't know why Andrew thought it would be a good idea to try and cut somebody's hair when he cannot cut hair. I mean, I got my hair cut. Do you see how like pristine and like, you know, this comes with like practice and precision. You just can't be taking a razor to anybody's head and not knowing what you're doing. And the fact that he did that to him, but you know what? Good for Hamza though for like sprucing that up by himself afterwards, because if he was going to roll with what Andrew gave him, that would have been just so unfortunate, and I would have just had to have had him evicted, so I didn't have to look at that anymore. Also, another mess that happened, I just feel like this week is like the mess is like the theme. Veronica decides that it's going to be a good idea to have a house meeting where she can just call out Ryan for all of the secret wheeling and dealing that he's been doing and telling everybody that they have targets on their backs and that they maybe shouldn't trust their alliances because their alliances members are also questioning them and you're not as safe as you think. She decides to call him out, and really I think that the episode didn't really give it the edit that it deserved. I feel like Ryan really did come out on top with that conversation as well. I watched it on the feeds because he really just sat down and rationalized why he did what he did. And he's not necessarily wrong. The house really did isolate him. They got him to put up Andrew. They got him to put, well, Hamza got himself put up on the blog, but they got him to put up Andrew, and Andrew's most likely going out the door. So as soon as they got what they wanted, they seemed to kind of just divorce themselves from him. And he felt like he got used. And he's right, but at the same time, you did that, Ryan. That's your fault. The house meeting really didn't do too much to affect Ryan's game in the moment, since he was still protected under his HOH, and Andrew's game was still pretty much tanked because everybody still wants him out. I mean, once this house sets its sight on an evictee, that kind of just is what it is. Andrew still does, you know, have a few Hail Marys left. He tries to pitch to Ali that Hamza is going to be a force to be reckoned with should he stay in the game, and that he's rallying up the troops and that she's going to be on the outside, which isn't necessarily false because of the fact that Ali is sort of associated with Olivia. And who's going after Olivia right now? Paris, which means that Dayla are going to also go after Olivia, because that means that it's not them. But as I said before at the beginning of this show, the word unanimous is becoming a thorn in my side, and we watched as everybody, with the exception of Marin and Veronica, voted to evict Andrew. He was evicted by 10 votes, walked out to talk to Arissa. See ya, boy. Bye. So, yeah. The one thing that we were really hoping for was a switch in the game, and that usually comes in the form of a wild card winning the HOH. And how many times have us as a fandom just prayed and prayed for something like this to happen? We got to see the beginning of this HOH competition, which, once again, another win for Big Brother Canada in terms of producing. They had to be in these boxes. They were in pairs. Erica was the odd one out, so she gets immunity for the week. This really is turning into Survivor, isn't it? Just immunities. You get an immunity, you get an immunity, you get an immunity. So normally I wouldn't do this until the week afterwards, but I'm just so happy about who won HOH. So I'm just going to say, spoiler alert, Hamza is the new HOH. Now, Hamza really isn't with anybody hardcore right now, maybe with the exception of Erica, so it's going to be very interesting to see what he does. He's been talking about putting up Olivia and one half of the De La Showmance, and if one half of the De La Showmance comes off, the other one will simply go up and most likely go home. So this is really going to test those relationships within all of these overlapping Final Threes and Final Fours and Real Deals and all sorts of stuff. It's really going to be tested this week, and I can't wait to have Hamza get off scot-free, because this is the kind of HOH where you just sit back and let everybody scurry, and then you just tiptoe on out at the end of the week. So I know a lot of us have been feeling a little bit weird about the beginning of this season, and for the most part I have too, but I do think that maybe this week will be the point where this game really starts to churn, and I'm hoping that we are not plagued by the third unanimous vote in a row. It's time for these bitches to start playing. And oh, let me just say, quick shout out to Maddie. I really liked the segment that they had for her last night, where she just was in the backyard watching the snowfall, and she was crying to herself, talking about how she's really wanted this for so long, and she's finally here, and she really believes that she can do it. This is just another reminder to all the fans out there that want to be on this show. Don't give up. Don't give up, because your time could be right around the corner. Anyways, that's my recap for this week. I hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. And I apologize that my voice is like a little bit down today. I've been a little sick and my throat's a little sore, so I'm trying not to put too much strain on it. But I love you all, and I cannot wait to be back next Friday with another update on everything that's happened in the house. Until then, you can see me on Twitter, follow us on Reality Recaps, follow me at Aman Adwin, and I shall see you guys soon. Peace.